Hi everyone! Hi bravehearts! Welcome to another episode of the Self Love Club podcast. This is me, Chennie, your host. Actually, for this episode, lahi atong host. Here, so this is a different format. Our host will be my previous guest, si Victoria Leslie Ingram. Hello, thank you so much.
Hello, thank you so much for having me as your host for today's episode for your podcast. It's such an honor. Wow,
Wow.
formal kay ko.
Ako may such an honor to be interviewed by you. Actually, guys, yan yung idea. This is her idea. How about, Ate Chani, how about I interview you so you can like share your story? It's like, oh, good idea. So, yeah, thank you.
Of course. Basta ikaw, Ate Chen. Always ready.
Ah.
Okay,
So,
so,
ano na?
ako na mo daan, no? Okay,
Go.
hi everyone. By the way, I'm Victoria Leslie Ingram. Um, Ate Chennie and I have been friends for quite some time, and what we have is very genuine. And I'm so glad to be here and to ask some personal questions about her passion project, which is the Self Love Club, if I'm right. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm gonna start first with a simple question, leading up to
Yeah.
in-depth questions. Here's your question number one. Wow.
Wow.
Imagine.
What, John?
Okay. Okay. So, my first question is, what inspired you to start this project, and what is the core mission or purpose behind this passion project?
Okay. So, guys, I don't really want to be identified by what happened to me, by my pain, by my wounds. That's why I don't really share so much about what has happened to me in the past. Also, probably because those times kay nag-heal pa bitaw ko. So uncomfortable for me to share those things. But now I'm okay naman to share. But katulagi, I have hesitation to share because I don't want to be identified by my wounds. Like when people see me, kato man to siya ang gichitan, kato man to siya ang gibully. I don't want to be identified or called that way. I want to be identified as this woman, the woman I've become bitaw after it or in spite it. But I'm glad that you initiated to do this interview because for me it's special na I can share my story in the hopes of inspiring and empowering people aside from just wisdom lang which I normally do or share. But to answer your question, going back, ang nagpa-inspire nako to start this passion project was really because of my past experiences. So, growing up, I was bullied because of how I look. So before, I'm sure mayon mo, ha, ikaw gibully? Inana imong naong ron? This is how you look and you were bullied? I don't believe you, but guys, wala ko naritoke, wala ko cosmetic surgery. I did not go through that. But before, I was so skinny, dark, di man dark brown. Brown. I was brown, skinny, and then people call me names like tikbalang, agta, giraffe because taas daw akong liog, etc. etc. Basta daghan kasi lagi call na ko nga names and even if I try to look pretty, feel pretty, kay ilagya pong kong ibuli, like wala kay angay mag pretty because you're ugly, you're different, you don't belong here. That was my childhood sa school. And I often feel invalidated. I often feel isolated, lonely because of how I look. Because that's how people made me feel back then. So that was the first experience that inspired me, no, leading up to this project. Second experience, kay modeling. I'm pretty sure you're aware of this industry.
Yes, yes.
So it's not really bully. It's not really like that, but
There's this
kanang
silent bullying. Murag nga na, no?
yes,
Yeah.
discrimination.
Yeah. We feel it, man good. Like, I know not anyone can relate, no, but
Mm-mm,
it's there.
mm-mm. Yeah, yeah. So if dili na ko love ang modeling, hagbay na ko ni hawa, like hagbay na ko ni stop. But I enjoy modeling. I genuinely do because of I see it as a good art, ang modeling itself. And I like the feeling of walking down the runway. So empowering siya na feeling. So that's why continue rin kong modeling. But going back, so sa modeling world, I also faced rejection, discrimination because of I have scoliosis. So I get rejections because of it, because of my bent back. There was this one time na last minute ko reject. Like gikuha na ko and then pag fitting kay after pa jud sa fitting when I went home gitextan ko nga sorry Chennie we can't get you because you have a bent back. It's like huh, okay. Those things bitaw na you don't have control of. You were born with it bitaw. And this industry makes you feel ba na you're ugly, you don't belong because of what you're born with. It's like that's how I felt back then. So that's the second. And then third kay actually more than duha ang reasons first sa self love club
Yeah,
nga
that's what
project.
those were the initial
Yes, those were
reasons.
the initial reasons. Ang third one na napasolidify jud na I did not think na makapasolidify sa ako ang passion and advocacy was, oh my God, this is so cliche, heartbreak. Heartbreak na ko. My first ever heartbreak. So it was so traumatic na I lost myself. I learned a valuable lesson during my heartbreak nga you can't give 100% to a person and make a person your home bitaw. You have to build a foundation of home within you and bilin jud ka og love for
I
yourself.
really love that. You have to build a home within you.
Yeah. And I learned it the hard way.
Yeah.
So it all the more solidified the concept of self-love, building that passion project because in this day no kay we see self-love, self-care, it's very materialistic kanang pamper myself ana-ana. But really it's not just that. It's self-work, doing the work, internal work, healing. A lot more on the healing, internal work, jud, ang self-love. Dili ra siya more on the outside. Because when you do the work internally, it will all follow. Mo radiate siya outside. Mo project it siya outside on your relationships, on the opportunities that you accept or anything that you tolerate. It all projects good because of or from the internal work that you've done. Those were the three things that really inspired me to start this passion project. And I started this in spite being an introvert. I'm an introvert because I want those nga ni experience the same thing that I experienced to have that safe space and to have the resources that I didn't have back then. Because one, taboo ang mental health before. It wasn't really talked much. There were no resources for me back then as a child. And I didn't know about therapy. I didn't know all these things. So, gamit kayo, bisag gamay lang na resource. Like when you see online na, not the toxic positivity is stuff or content, but like making you feel ba nga, you're not alone in this journey. There is a safe space and healthy ways to cope and to heal from it. So that's the reason. That's really the core reason, John. I want to empower and inspire those who went through the same journey as I did, and mainly to inspire people to do the internal work. So, yeah.
Wow. First of all, I just want to say thank you for having the strength to unpack everything in one go. all from a simple question. I know it's not easy, Bito Ate Chen, to unpack that and to show that vulnerability
Thank
in your
you.
podcast, Pagod. And I really like what you said about self work and healing. The word self work and healing sometimes becomes a buzzword. It becomes a catchphrase for most of the people. And I think it's important for people to remember that self work goes way beyond than just, reading self help books. It
That's
really takes a
true.
lot of inner work, a lot of mindfulness, and being aware of your weaknesses and your strengths, and how can you
Yeah.
further improve and learn from, yes, accountability,
Accountability.
and learn from your past experiences, which you
Yeah.
exactly did. And I hope, guys, you have has have grasped rather some lessons that you have heard from the story of Ate Chenny. So thank you, kayo, Ate Chen. So
Thank
moving on
you.
to the second
Ah.
question.
Yes.
What has been the most rewarding part while working on your passion project, Self Love Club?
Most rewarding for me, no, kanang people messaging me, saying na, ate or Chenny, you inspire me. Your posts, your content, your words really have huge impact sa ako, or has helped me, or I really needed to hear that. Simple things like that.
Yeah, I really love that part because actually I've seen this podcast, and ang term daw ana is empathic resonance.
Mm.
So I really love how you have incorporated that. Barag unknowingly bitaw sa imong podcast, kay ako mismo makakita mo ko sa imong mga post and
Mm.
what you share, and it really resonates to me. Even na you get to talk about your
I'm glad.
flaws, you get to talk about the struggles that you face and how you handle them, because of course you are human, and the people watching are obviously human too, and they
Yeah.
feel these things, and it's important for them to see that, oh, dira di ako asa po di si Ate
Yeah.
Chenny.
It's not easy
Yeah,
to be vulnerable, ha,
yeah,
by the
yeah,
way.
and you've used your vulnerability as a power. Yeah, and
Mm.
it's a great advantage bitaw kay what you said earlier. You have empowered people. You were not thinking about, like so many views. You're just thinking of just putting out
Mm.
an evergreen content, I suppose,
Yeah.
na kanabitang mutatak yun sa mind sa mga tao nga mo resonate nimo.
Mm.
That's really nice, Ate Chen.
Thank you. To be honest, beto, ma-pressure gyapon ko sa likes, numbers, and following because it's most people look at that nowadays, and maulan dyan na akong i-remind sa akong self. I take a step back whenever I feel pressured and remember my core or why. Nakato. We're out here to empower and inspire people and give these resources and inspiration to whoever resonates with it.
Yeah.
Kay makahelp taog tao. That's it. So yeah.
Thank you, Kayu. And moving on to the
Yes.
next question. So, unsa may mga skills that you have developed or improved while working
Hmm.
on, some of the specific key points in your self love club project?
Mm. Number one siguro kay more confidence
Mm.
in myself. And second is maybe communication skills, networking with people. Lisod bitaw siya as an introvert.
Yeah, I was supposed to say that, guys, kay she mentioned magod earlier nga she is an introvert. And ako mismo, I'm also an introvert,
Ah.
and introverts collide.
Lisod bitaw siya.
Yeah, but I think it surpasses the fear, no. I think the fear is there, but you still do it because it's
Yeah.
something so much greater and bigger than you that can bring something good to the people.
Yeah, that's it.
No? I
Yeah.
think it
Driven
surpasses,
by
it
purpose.
transcends the fear.
Mm.
Yeah, the purpose
Yeah.
transcends the fear. Am I
Yeah.
making sense at the
Yeah, yeah,
Chenny?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes, you
yeah,
are making sense. And
yeah,
yes, I super agree.
yeah.
Driven by purpose. So, yeah. Communication skills wise.
Or if anything, I'm so proud of you, Ate Chan. Kay,
Thank
despite
you.
being an introvert, kay imo gyud gihapon ginabuhat, then you still find time to be intentional with what you release or what you share.
As in,
Yeah, that
yeah.
says a lot sa kung kinsa gani ka as a person. So kudos to
Thank
you.
you.
I'll give you a
Ah,
pat on the shoulder with that.
thank you. Thank you. Thank
Oo.
you.
So speaking of intentional,
Hmm.
you are very kanang intentional again, like I said, sa imuhang mga topics that you tackle sa imong podcast. So where do you draw inspiration from these topics nga, ay okay, kani I'll be talking about this for this podcast, I'll be talking about this for this
Oh
video?
my God. So many inspiration. It could be from the book that I read, or some awakening or epiphanies na moments during one katong akong gi-attend na emotional spiritual workshop. I gained so much insight from that. So shout out to Coach Sarah Suyom.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oo.
so I gained so much insight and learning from that. Like also a lot of self discoveries. So I list them down. Actually, I put those ideas on my journal, and then whenever I feel the spark to create, kay I go back to that content bucket or journal, that page, and then I take from what I outlined, and dito na din ko mag mind dump.
Yeah. I'm curious, Ate Chen, like for example, if you come to pick up a topic,
Mm,
um, is there like a, how do I say this, mind map or something?
mm.
Like, is there like a script in your mind, or do you write it down, or just
Outline.
bullet points lang?
Oo, bullet points mostly.
Yeah,
But there
mostly
are
bullet
times
points.
na grabe sa jud akong thoughts. Like, maka-write sa jud ko like whole page. Like, ma-amaze na lang. Uy, ni-write ko, ani. Oo, and ano. Sometimes pod kay, for example, if in any interviews, I take inspiration sa story sa akong i-interview. And then when I pick pod the guest, kay, I make sure I pick a guest na mo align sa ako ang passion
Katungat, yeah.
project, and make sure na ilang story mo align ani.
Yeah.
And then kana sa imuhang sa akong interview nimo katong beauty,
Yeah.
no there's beauty in
Yeah.
empathy, o kana siya.
Uh-uh.
So I gain topic inspiration from their stories, from the stories of the people I interview, aside from the books, the workshops, and my personal experience. But mostly jud akong personal experience jud, wisdom. So I turn my wounds to wisdom.
I love that. Turn your wounds to wisdom. I'll keep that
Yes.
in mind. Kay, I'm personally, I'm also going through a rough patch right now, and I think that's important to remember. No, na the challenges that you have right now are not forever, and you can use
Mm,
that to gain wisdom and to grow
yeah.
better as a person. And
Depende na nimo unsaon
how you
nimo
handled
pag
it.
handle ang wisdom. Do you take it like for yourself, or do you want to share it to the world? Unsa man
Exactly.
ikaw?
Amen. Wow. That's so deep. I love the turn your wounds to wisdom. Then
Yes.
you've mentioned that you gain inspiration from the stories that you hear and your own story.
Yes,
So
mostly.
I assume that you have really collaborated with a lot of people from your podcast. You have met a lot of
Mm-mm.
people as a content creator
Mm.
outside the podcasts.
Mm-mm-mm.
So what's one thing, I'm sure you've learned a lot of things, but I'd like to focus on one thing that has stuck with you, that you have learned from these people that you've met. Like what's one thing that stood out, like, oh, mo man ni akong
Oh.
nakatunan from these people. These are amazing
Hmm.
people. Yeah.
In general lang no, it's I've been advocating this jud a lot in
Yeah.
my platforms. Self-awareness and self-acceptance are key to growth and development, as
So I assume this is,
in general.
yeah. So this was something like you've um is this like a eureka moment or something that you've realized over the course of meeting these people? Yeah,
Yes.
so that's one
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. In
Maybe you'd like to
general na
expound.
siya.
Yeah.
Oo. You cannot heal if you run away from your wounds. You have to be responsible enough to heal your wounds, because unknowingly manggod, you project that towards your relationships and your decisions in life. Dili lang nimo manotice. But yeah, you cannot grow pod if you don't have self-awareness and self-acceptance. So self-awareness, like aware ka na what you're doing is not right, but if you don't have self-acceptance pod, kay yeah, aware ko nga I'm what I'm doing is not right, but do you accept it's not right? Because once you accept it, that's when you know, you're
Start doing what's right.
oh
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think that's you mentioned self awareness and self acceptance. I think it's important for us to ano din, like for example, like parang nabito kay courage to be
mm,
humble,
mm,
to
to ground
yeah, to ground
yourself.
yourself and have the courage to accept na, oh yeah, sayop ko ani, sayop ko
Mm,
aning apart, okay, what do I do? Because
mm,
I think that's where most of us get stuck manggod nga
yeah.
when we're too afraid to admit kay na
Mm,
taas kaya tong pride. So
yeah.
I think it's like you have to have the courage to be humble, and then self awareness and self acceptance
Mm.
follows.
Also to add to that, no, self-acceptance sa process pa. Moral compass,
Yeah,
no?
kana jud. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I've read this like quote. I forgot what were the exact words, but it was something like if you're only aware of your negative side and you're not doing anything about it, you're only being mean to yourself.
Only being what?
You're only being mean to yourself. Yeah, you may
Mm,
be aware, pero you're not doing anything about
that's
it.
true. And then mo reklamo din ka nga, ay nga naman eh, nga
Yeah.
pattern, uy, sige ra balik-balik. And
Yeah.
then you start blaming the universe, you start blaming
Yes,
God.
yes,
But
yes.
have you checked yourself?
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's important you like to
Mm,
self-reflect
yeah.
and have the courage to be humble
Yeah.
para mag-ground ni mong self na okay,
Sa
dere dere siya.
daghan sa kadaghang stories na ko na hear kato kanang general lang ba,
Yeah.
sa kadaghang stories na ko na hear from different people kana they I see it, the common thing na kato dili you don't grow if you're not aware of yourself, as in you're not connected to yourself. Second kato you don't accept imuhang realization, imuhang awakenings, you don't really accept it. Self-awareness and self-acceptance
That's
are
very
key.
yeah, that's very beautiful Ate Chen kay as simple as it sounds, I think it's important gyud gihapon no nga ang mga tao bitaw ma-remind gyud gihapon ana nga you're not things won't always go your way. You're not always on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, kita tanan tao ba gyud ta na masayop gyud ta.
Yeah, yeah.
So, kung masayop ta, yes, it will hurt, but truth hurts, as they say. So we have to accept that hurt and use that pain to gain wisdom. Diba? Balik na
Yes.
gyapon ta sa turning wounds to wisdom according to Ate
Oo,
Chennie
yes.
2024.
Ay, quote and quote.
Yeah, so my last question is, on
Yes.
sa man mo advice that you would give to someone thinking about starting their own passion project like you?
Okay. First, siguro is make sure that your passion project is really what you're passionate about. Like, ask yourself nga, where is it driving from? Because if it's driving from, because people told me that I should start this and that, but do you really want it? Do you really like doing it? You really have to be genuinely, authentically passionate about it.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And gamit sa jud siya if inspired siya by your personal experience ang imong passion project. Especially when in ani siya nga passion project bitaw when you want to make an impact sa tao, empathy.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
empathy.
Yes. And then third is you need to have the discipline, commitment to pursue it because it's not going to be easy. I won't put colorful, flowery words. It won't be easy. Especially kani, akong passion project because it's not very pangmasa. It's not a funny content. It's a very serious topic or matter. And, people really draw away from those things, especially self-work. Yeah, it's a dirty, dirty work,
And
messy work.
all the more reason for you to speak more about it, and you had the courage to talk more about it so people would be more comfortable over time. So yeah,
Yeah.
kudos to you, Ate Chen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, mo to siya. Mura ko ma-think. Balikan
Ah.
lang tamo guys kung napwede siya na.
Yeah, so I guess that's it, Ate Chen. Akong mga questions kay some of the questions I was supposed to ask na mention na nimo imong
Ay,
answer on it.
okay.
So I
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, I'm very thankful good no to host your podcast sa kaning nga
Yay!
episode. Like feel jud kay nako muro bitaw kog nasa TikTok kanang podcast makita
Ay,
nimo nga
wow.
kanang serious kay ba. So yeah, I'm very thankful good that I got to hear your insights and perspective on your own passion project. I've never heard of it by good how you started it, where you draw inspiration from it. Kay I only knew kay I was a part of it
Yeah.
once and now I'm a part of it twice, but in a
Yes.
different perspective, your perspective. So
Yeah.
that's it guys. I'm very thankful nga na ako'y nakatunan from her and I hope na pud mo nakatunan. Any last words? Ikaw like
Um,
close kay mo habi ani.
yeah. My last word siguro is be compassionate towards yourself. Healing, self-growth, self-development, that journey, self-love, it's so hard. It's so hard, good. There are days, even myself, no, I will admit, it's such a lonely path. As in, it's so hard. And it's a messy work, like I mentioned. But just be compassionate and be patient sa imong self. Most importantly, sa imong self. Do this for yourself. And I promise you, when you do the work, everything else follows. I swear to God, everything else follows. You will radiate that glow from within. Promise, promise. And then opportunities na dayon mo come right in front of you. Mo domino effect na dayon na siya, guys. So trust the process, trust yourself, and be kind to yourself and others as well. Thank you so much, Bravehearts, for listening to this episode. And thank you very much from the bottom of my heart, Victoria Leslie Ingram. Oh, the full name, dyan ba? Vic, thank you
Yes.
kayo
Of course.
for
Of
doing
course.
this for me.
Thank you Ate Cha. Nalingaw sa bitaw ko. Ya kay more na hitabo na gid akong imagine kan bitong mga podcast sa TikTok lagi ako makita nga na akong na-feel karon nga murag oh my gosh yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm a
so
part of something great.
it's so nice to be heard for once. Like, kaya ako rin sige og here, listen. It's so nice. It's so nice. But I hope this reaches out to other platforms as well and people. Wink, wink. If ever, para more reach, para more people ang ma-inspired
More reach,
and
Cute
empowered.
True.
No? Anyways, that's it, you guys. Thank you so much. Follow Self Love Club _ podcast on Instagram. Follow me on all of my socials. That's Chennie Montero, YouTube, Chennie TV. How about you, Plug Vic?
Oh yeah. Please follow me on Instagram. That's Victoria Leslie _Ingram and follow my Spotify account for more music soon. Wow. So my artist name on Spotify is Victoria Leslie. Head on there to check out my recent
Yeah.
releases.
Yeah.
Salamat.
Thank
Char. Thank you kayo,
you.
Ate Chen.
Thank you,
Thank you
thank
kay ninyong
you.
tanan.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.